will show Basil calling balls and strikes and back to the plate. Stewart is moving over to first base. Tipgrass down to second, and Beans Reardon working at third. The National Leaguers have several players warming up now. So the first batter for the National Leaguers here in the last half of the fifth inning will be Wyatt of the Brooklyn Dodgers. We noticed Oscar Art of the Dodgers, Merrill May of the Phillies, Eddie Miller of the Boston Bees, Frank McCormick of the Cincinnati Reds, and Joe Moore of the New York Giants are all down there limbering up. So it looks like about the end of this inning that we're liable to have a wholesale substitution list going in. We're all set to go. Wyatt batting. That's right-handed. First man. Newsom's into his windup for the initial pitch. Here it is. Inside, ball one. 1 ball is the count. The umpires again are Basil of the American League calling balls and strikes. Stewart, the National, first base. Tipgrass, the American, at second. Reardon of the National, third. The next pitch is a called strike on Wyatt. So the count is even up 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. The last half of the fifth inning. He's into his windup. Here's the next one. Strike 2. He took a cut at that one. 2 strikes and 1 ball. Marky Vaughn on deck. Billy Herman will be the third batter. 2 strikes, 1 ball. Newsom's getting the signal now from Frankie Hayes for the next pitch. Goes into his windup. He has a very peculiar windup. Here's the pitch, and it's a foul ball going into the stands. The lower tier to the right of the plate, over and back to the American Leaguers' dugout. Count remains the same, 2 strikes, 1 ball. A new ball was tossed into Buck Newsom. He's standing in back of the mound, picks up the rosin bag, rubs the ball up a little, comes in to get his signal from Hayes. 2 strikes, 1 ball. This is the first man here in the last half of the fifth. He's into his windup. Here's the next pitch. Strike 3 called. Wyatt called out on strike for the initial out, and that brings up Archie Vaughn, the Pittsburgh Pirates shortstop. Vaughn has been up there twice. He has 1 hit out of 2 trips. He started that 3-run rally in the first inning. Bats left-handed with Billy Herman on deck. 1 man down, nobody on. That's the last half of the fifth inning. Newsom gets his signal from Hayes. Winding up to the initial pitch to Vaughn. Here it comes. Wide, ball 1. 1 ball is the count. Travis moved in rather close that time. In fact, he might be figuring that Vaughn might cross him up and lay 1 down. 1 ball is the count. He's into his windup. 1 away. Here's the next pitch, and there goes the fly ball going out to left field. Williams coming over just inside of the foul line. He takes it for the second out. Vaughn out on a fly to Ted Williams in left. So it's 2 away, and that brings up Billy Herman, the Chicago Cubs second baseman. So far, the leading hitter in the ball game. He's been up there twice and has 2 hits, getting a single in the first inning and another single in the third, a play in which Joe Gordon made a great stop of his grounder over and back to second base, but Herman beats the throw to first. There's 2 down, Herman batting, Nicholson on deck. Newsom's into his windup. Here's the pitch. He floated one up there that time, but the pitch was wide for ball 1. 1 ball is the count. With 1 man down, or 2 men down rather. 2 away. 1 ball is the count on Billy Herman. Here's the next one. Ball 2 outside and high. 2 balls and no strikes. 2 balls, no strikes. Newsom strolls back to the mound. It's the last half of the fifth inning. The score is still 3-0 in favor of the National Leaguers. He's into his windup for the next pitch to Billy Herman, and it's a ground ball going out to right field for hit number 3. Billy Herman comes up with his 3rd hit, a single out to right field, a ground single between first and second, and it's 3 out of 3 for Herman. That brings up Bill Nicholson of the Chicago Cubs, playing right field for the National Leaguers. That's left-handed. On his other trip to the plate, he was out when Keller raced over into the bullpen down the right field line to make a nice catch on his fly ball. Herman on second, 2 down. Newsom steps in on the mound, getting set. Here's the pitch. Foul ball in back of the plate for strike 1. Johnny Mize on deck. Two down. Herman on first base. Nicholson batting with Mize on deck. Newsom steps in on the mound. Getting a signal now from Hayes. Goes into his stretch. He's all set for the pitch. Here it is. And there goes the drive. Looks like it might be pretty close to the wall. No, it's about 5 feet in front of the wall. It's taken out there in right field for the third out, retiring the side. The result in the last half of the fifth inning, no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. This boy Keller has had quite a day out there in right field for the American Leaguers. He's had 4 or 5 putouts, making a couple nice catches. The score going into the first half of the sixth inning still reads 3-0 in favor of the National League.
As we go into the first half of the sixth inning, manager Bill McKechnie of the Cincinnati Reds, who's piloting the National League entry this year, is making some wholesale substitutions. So far, we've seen go out onto the field Eddie Miller to replace Archie Vaughan at shortstop. Pete Coscarard, Miller, of course, the Boston Bees. Pete Coscarard of the Brooklyn Dodgers replacing Billy Herman at second base. Frank McCormick going in at first base to replace Johnny Mize, McCormick of the Cincinnati Reds. And incidentally, up until this ball game, Frank McCormick, from his freshman year in the big leagues, had played every inning of every All-Star game which he's participated, and he's participated in every one since he's been in the big league. But Johnny Mize started today, but McCormick is right back in there. Over at third base, Merrill May of the Philadelphia Phillies is replacing Cookie Labagetto. In the outfield, in left field, we see Joe Moore of the New York Giants replacing Ducky Medwick. Looks like Terry Moore still in center field. And over in right field, looking through the screen, looks to be Mel Ott, captain of the New York Giants. So there are your changes. Whitlow White still pitching for the National League. Babe Phelps catching. A Dodger battery. Out of the Giants in right, Terry Moore of the Cardinals in center. Joe Moore of the Giants in left. Merrill May of the Philadelphia Phillies at third. Eddie Miller of the Boston Bees at short. Pete Coscarard of the Brooklyn Dodgers at second. And Frank McCormick of the Cincinnati Reds at first base. 3-0 is the score favor the National League. First half of the sixth inning. Larry French, by the way, is warming up for the National Leaguers in the National League bullpen. Up to the plate, starting off the first half of sixth for the American League, is Buck Newsom. Hits him right-handed. Whitlow White starts the windup. First pitch to Newsom is a fast one high for ball one. Newsom's a pretty good hitter for a pitcher. One time this season, he had a perfect day down in Washington, of which he was very proud. Swings that bat and down on the end of the handle. White gets his sign from Phelps. In comes the pitch. Strike one, it's called right through the middle, letter high. The cheer you just heard was an announcement that Terry Moore of the Cardinals would remain in center field over the loudspeaker here, which the St. Louis fans naturally cheered. 1-1 the count on Newsom. 3-0 National League, first half of the sixth inning. Wyatt's pitch is swung on to line drive in the right field, falling in there safely for a base hit. Mel Ott takes on one hop, throws in to Coscarard at second. And Newsom lines a single to right for the second hit obtained by the American League so far in the ballgame. Brings to the plate Cecil Travis. Washington Senators third baseman, left-handed hitter, who in 2 trips to the plate flied to center in the first inning and lined to left in the third. Wyatt looks in, takes a stretch. Newsom has to stroll off first. In comes the pitch. Strike one, it's called. Fast one, above the knees, through the middle. Merrill May at third, in close. Outfield, touch toward left, almost straight away. Wyatt working slowly, steps on. Newsom inches off first base. In comes the pitch. Travis takes it low inside for ball one. 1-1 the count. Ted Williams is on deck. First half, sixth inning with the National League leading 3-0, getting all their runs in the first inning. Singles by Vaughn and Herman and a home run by Max West. Stretch by Wyatt. Pitch outside for ball two. 2-1 the count on Cecil Travis. Wyatt's taking plenty of time. Larry French still warming up for the National League with Harry Danning of the Giants. Wyatt pitches. Travis swings, fouls it off to the left of the plate. Up against the lower boxes. Strike two. 2-2 the count. Kenny Keltner, Cleveland Indians third baseman, is warming up in the American League bullpen will probably go in at third base, replace Cecil Travis, now batting. 2-2 the count on Travis. Nobody out. Buck Newsom on first. Whitlow White taking a lot of time. He's ready to go. Stretch. The pitch is high for ball 3. And we have a full count on Travis now, 3-2. Eddie Miller, at short for the Bees, comes in a few paces, kicks the dirt. Very fine fielding shortstop. Infield is in a few paces in double play position. The opportunity presents itself. The 3-2 pitch comes in, swung on to ground ball out to Karskarat, to Miller, Miller to McCormick, and Cecil Travis hitting into a double play. Second to short to first, Karskarat to Miller to McCormick. And that nips in the bud a potential American League rally here in the first half of the 6th inning with the National League ahead 3-0. 2 down, nobody on, and Ted Williams the batter. Williams walked in the first inning, grounded out the second and the third. No hits, one official trip to the plate, bats him left-handed. White's first pitch is swung on to ground ball out to second. Karskarat takes it in the big hop, throws to McCormick, and Williams is out at first, second to first, Karskarat to McCormick. And so for the American League in the first half of the 6th inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. Buck Newsom lining a single right to get the second American League hit of the afternoon. The first one coming in the second inning when Luke Appling doubled off the right field wall, the play on which Max West almost made a sensational catch, but only succeeded in shaking himself up somewhat as he banged up against the wall and had to leave the ball game. Kenny Keltner is going in to play third base for the American League to replace Cecil Travis. And out in left field, replacing Ted Williams, is Hank Greenberg of the Detroit Tigers. To make those 2 changes on your scorecard, going to have a change in right field, be Lou Finney of the Boston Red Sox, replacing Charlie Keller. Lou Finney, the Boston Red Sox, going to right field. Hank Greenberg to left field, replacing Ted Williams. Joe DiMaggio remains in center field. Kenny Keltner of the Cleveland Indians takes over third base, replacing Cecil Travis. Luke Appling remains at short, Joe Gordon at second, Jimmy Fox at first. So here's your American League lineup again very quickly. Newsom pitching, Hayes catching, Fox at first, Gordon at second, Appling at short, Keltner at third, Greenberg in left field, DiMaggio in center, and Lou Finney in right field. There are your changes, which is holding up the ball game momentarily as the umpire back to the plate. Now Steve Basil gets them. And Bobby Feller starts to warm up in the American League bullpen. As we go into the last half of the 6th inning with the National League leading 3-0, Frank McCormick comes up for his first time in the ball game, replacing Johnny Mize at first base. McCormick bats him right-handed. Newsom starts to wind up. First pitch to McCormick is swung on. It's a pop fly high into the air toward third base. Kenny Keltner shading his eyes from the sun under it, and he makes the catch just outside the foul line so that it's caught in foul territory for the first out. 1 down. That brings to the plate Babe Phelps, Brooklyn Dodger catcher, who replaced Ernie Lombardi, the starting catcher for the National League this afternoon. Phelps bats them left-handed. Outfield straight away for him. Newsom looks in to get the sign from Frankie Hayes. Starts his wind-up. Sidearm pitch outside for ball 1. Young Bob Feller warming up in the American League bullpen. Larry French, a left-hander, warming up for the National League in the senior circuit bullpen out along left field. 1-0 count on Babe Phelps. In comes a slow floater. Outside for ball 2. Crowd gets a kick out of Newsom when he throws that slow floater up there. And Newsom registers disgust every time that floater doesn't get in there for a called strike. In comes his pitch, a fastball over the outside corner for a called strike. It's 2-1 now on Babe Phelps. 1 down, nobody on, last of the 6th. National League leading 3-0. It's been a nip and tuck struggle since the very first inning when the National League scored their 3. The pitch is inside for ball 3. And the count now on Phelps is 3-1. Babe had to step away from that one. Newsom turns, looks at his outfield now. wipes his brow with his sleeve of his left hand on his left arm. Ready for the 3-1 pitch. Phelps gets set. In it comes. It's low inside for ball 4, and Phelps walks. That's the first base on balls given up by Newsom since he took over pitching for the American League at the start of the 4th inning. Up to the plate steps Joe Moore of the New York Giants, who replaced Joe Medwick in left field. Joe bats him left-handed. Medwick went hitless in 2 trips. Joe Moore's up in place of Medwick now. With Phelps on first base, 1 away. Newsom takes the stretch. In comes the pitch to Moore. Called strike. Fastball knee-high through the middle. Outfield straight away for JoJo. He doesn't pull him. It's a lot to left center. Newsom studies. The batter takes a stretch. Phelps leads off first. In comes the pitch, swung on, fouled off to the left of our CBS booth into the stands in the upper deck. A man stood up and made a catch of it for a souvenir. Crowd around him, gave him a nice little hand. 2 strikes on Joe Moore. Newsom goes to the Rosenbag, gets the touch. 1 away. Last half of the 6th inning with Babe Phelps on first. 1 down. Slow stretch by Newsom. He pitches, fouled off up to the screen, back to the plate, rolling right on down. On deck is Merrill May of the Philadelphia Phillies, who replaced Cookie Lavagetto at third base in the first half of the 6th inning. 2 strikes on Joe Moore. Chokes up on that bat about 2 inches. Phelps strolls off first. Again, Newsom takes a stretch. Look at the runner. The pitch. Outside, ball 1. 1-2 the count on the New York Giants left fielder Joe Moore. Hank Greenberg out in left field now. Joe DiMaggio in center and Lou Penny in right. Larry French is warming up still, bearing down. Bob Feller just limbering up. Here comes the pitch. Swung on, it's a pop fly, curving into foul territory back at third. Keltner goes over, shading his eyes from the sun, and he makes the catch for the putout, and they're 2 away. Joe Moore fouling out to Kenny Keltner for the 2nd out of the inning. Both outs, incidentally, being foul outs to Keltner. Up to the plate steps Merrill May, hard-hitting right-hander of the Philadelphia. And with May up to the plate, Doc Prothro with Philadelphia Phillies. May's manager is coaching at third, shouting words of encouragement up his boy. 1-0 count on May. Stretched by Newsom. Phelps leading off first. Pitch comes in, swung on and missed for strike 1. That evens it up on May at 1-1. 3-0 favor the National League. Last half of the 6th inning. Newsom's again ready to go. Here comes the pitch. Fast one high for ball 2. 2-1 the count on Merrill May. Terry Moore on deck. Newsom decides to stop just for a little while. Tucks his glove up under his left arm, goes back to the Rosenbag. Looks out the outfield as usual. Comes back from the hill now, is ready to go. Again, that slow stretch of his. The pitch inside for ball 3. And it's 3-1 on May. Frank Hayes, catching for the American Leaguers now. Walks 2 paces out toward the mound before returning the ball to Newsom. Hollers something to him. Back behind the plate, goes into his crouch to give Newsom the sign. 3-1 pitch about to be served up. Phelps leading off first. Here's the pitch, swung on, fouled off. High, back of first over the roof between the arc lights for the 2nd strike. We have a full count now on Merrill May. 3-2. 2 down. Phelps on first. Babe will be ready to break for second on the pitch. Newsom again taking time. Wants to be sure of his pitch if he can. Bobbles the ball around his glove. Steps on, takes a slow stretch. Phelps gets off, ready to break for second. There he goes. The pitch comes in, swung on. It's a drive out into center field. Joe DiMaggio under it, waiting, taps his glove, and he makes the catch for the putout. And that's all for the National League in the last half of the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, one man left on base, Babe Phelps, who had walked, and with the ball game 2/3 over. The score remains the National League 3, the American League nothing. And going into the first half, the seventh inning, Plants lost.
And Hank Danning of the New York Giants is going in now to do the catching for the National Leaguers. Larry French, the Chicago Cubs, coming in on the mound to do the pitching. And the first batter in the first half of the seventh inning will be Lou Finney of the Boston Red Sox. He'll be followed by DiMaggio and Fox. The first half of the seventh, and the score still reads 3-0. There's a lot of fans here standing in the first half of the seventh, which means that it looks like our audience is about 50-50, American League rooters and National League rooters. We can judge that a little better in the last half, and we'll see how they stand up for the National League. Of course, some of them stand up for both, so they'll be up in the... Greenberg, rather, is going to be the first batter here. Greenberg is the first batter for the American League. Be followed by Finney. That's right-handed. French winding up. Here's the first pitch, and it's outside and high for ball one. French starts his wind-up. Here's the next pitch. Strike one. He took a cut at it. 1-1. 1-1 is the count on Hank Greenberg. French steps in on the mound. Starts his wind-up for the next pitch to Hank Greenberg, a right-handed batter. And it's a high foul coming to the right of the plate. Danning is back after it, under it. He makes the catch for the out. Greenberg fouled out to Danning. That brings up Joe DiMaggio. Joe Cronin coming out from the bench. Joe DiMaggio, the batter. Joe Cronin was out to talk to the umpire. Looks for a moment like there's a little mix-up in the lineup. DiMaggio bats right-handed. French is in on the mound. Goes into his wind-up for the initial pitch. Here it is, and it's a high fly. Going out and back of the mound. Deep, right back to the baseline, and Eddie Miller takes it for the second out. DiMaggio out on a high fly to Eddie Miller, the National League shortstop. So it's 2 down. That brings up Jimmy Fox, the American Leaguer's first baseman. That's right-handed with 2 down and nobody on the first half of the seventh inning. The National Leaguers leading by a score of 3-0. Fox bats right-handed. Larry French steps in on the mound to get his signal from Danning. Goes into his wind-up for the first pitch here to Fox. Here it comes. Strike one called. 1 strike on Jimmy Fox. 1 strike. The first half of the seventh inning. Bobby Feller still warming up for the American Leaguers. Down in the right field bullpen. French is winding up. Here's the pitch inside and high, making the count read 1-1 on Fox. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1. Lou Kapling on deck. The first half of the seventh inning. French gets his signal into his wind-up. And here's the next pitch, and there goes the drive going out to deep center. Terry Moore going back. He takes it for the third out, retiring the side. Fox lined out to Terry Moore in deep center. The results there in the first half of the seventh inning show no runs, no hits, no errors, and the score still reads 3-0 as we go into the last half of the seventh inning. What is commonly known as the old lucky stretch inning, and it looks like they're coming up again. So I would say this crowd is about 50-50 National Leaguers and American Leaguers after watching, if the stretch is any criterion. Bobby Feller is coming in to do the pitching for the Yanks. we better say for the American Leaguers, not the Yanks. The American Leaguers there, Newsom pitched 3 innings, allowed 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 1. Didn't allow any runs. Wyatt worked 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, didn't walk any, and struck out 1 man. Bobby Feller of the Cleveland Indians now on the firing line for the American Leaguers. The right-hander. Hemsley doing the catching. Feller and Hemsley. Bobby Feller and Raleigh Hemsley of the Cleveland Indians are now the battery for the American Leaguers. And the first man up for the National Leaguers here in the last half of the 7th inning is Terry Moore, center fielder, the St. Louis Cardinals. This is Terry's 3rd appearance at the plate. He hasn't any hits so far. That's right-handed. Bobby Feller steps in on the mound. Getting a signal now from Raleigh Hemsley for the initial pitch here to Terry Moore. Goes into his windup. Here it is. And it's strike 1 call. Moore feinted as if to bunt, changed his mind, and it was a called strike. 1 strike, Terry Moore batting. The first batter here for the National Leaguers in the last half 7th. Here's the next pitch, ball inside and low, going clear on back to the stands, and new ball goes into the game. 1-1. That one was low in the dirt. Ball got away from Hemsley. Fellow rubs up that new ball. Steps in on the mound to get his signal from Raleigh Hemsley for the next pitch to Terry Moore. The last half of the 7th inning, the National Leaguers still leading by a score of 3-0. He's into his windup for the pitch. Here it comes. Foul tip, strike 2. 2 strikes and 1 ball. And he really fogged that one in. 2 strikes, 1 ball is the count. It's the last half of the 7th. The hits are 2 for the American Leaguers and 6 for the National Leaguers so far. The National Leaguers had 4 of those 6 hits in the very first inning when they scored 3 runs. Had 3 runs in before a man was retired. 2 singles and a homer by Max West. Feller's in on the mound. Goes into his windup for the pitch. Ball 2 outside. Moore was tempted. He came very near swinging. 2-2 is the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The first batter for the National Leaguers, the last half of the 7th. Larry French is on deck. He's into his windup, and here's the next pitch. Ball 3 outside and low. 3-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Terry Moore. Casey Stengel, manager of the Boston Bees, coaching down on the first baseline. Still have Doc Crotho, manager of the Phillies, coaching at third. 3-2 is the count. This is the one that tells the story. Something should happen this time one way or another. He's into his windup. Here it is. Ball 4 wide, and Terry Moore gets free transportation. That brings up Larry French of the Chicago Cubs, pitching for the National Leaguers. With Eddie Miller on deck. Larry French, that's right-handed. Terry Moore on first base, nobody down. Ken Keltner moves in close, expecting that bunt, which he'll more than likely get. Feller steps in on the mound, into his stretch, all set for the first pitch to French. There it is, and he bunts one, going down the first base line. Jimmy Fox fields the ball, out at first. Fox to Gordon, who covered the bag of sacrifice, putting Terry Moore down on second. 1 away, Terry Moore down on second base, and Eddie Miller of the Boston Bees is the batter. Playing shortstop for the National Leaguers. That's right-handed. And he'll be followed by Pete Coskerard of the Brooklyn Dodgers. The last half of the 7th inning with a score reading 3-0. There's 1 away. Terry Moore down on second base. Feller steps in on the mound, getting a signal from Raleigh Hemsley here for the first pitch to Eddie Miller, a right-handed batter. All set. Here it comes. And a foul ball Coming back into the stands, the upper deck and back of the plate for strike one. One strike, a new ball was tossed in the feller. He's rubbing the gloss off of it before stepping in on the mound to get his signal. The last half of the seventh inning. Back in on the mound. Terry Moore down on second base. One away. Up goes the arm. All set for the pitch. Here it comes. Ball. It was inside. 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 is the count on Eddie Miller. We'll have Terry Moore down on second base. That was the second walk to be issued by American League pitchers there when Terry Moore walked. Here's the next pitch. Ball 2. It was wide and outside. The other man to walk was Babe Phelps there in the 6th inning. Buck Newsom issued that one. 2 balls and 1 strike is the count. Eddie Miller batting. With Terry Moore still down on second base and 1 man down. Miller throws it on the mound. Getting a signal now from Raleigh Hemsley for the next pitch here to Eddie Miller. Here it is. And a foul ball coming back on top of the stand. And the count is even up once again, 2-2. 2-2. Umpire Basil dusting the plate. 2-2 is the count on Eddie Miller, the right-handed batter. Man on second base and 1 man down. Scored 3-0 National League. It's the last half of the 7th. Miller steps in on the mound. Getting a signal now for the next pitch. Up goes the arm. All set for the delivery. Here it comes. Strike 3. Miller went down swinging for the second out. Eddie Miller struck out. That brings up Pete Coscarart, the Brooklyn Dodger second baseman. This is his first appearance at the plate since replacing Billy Herman at second. That's right-handed. He'll be followed by Mel Ott. The last half of the 7th with 2 away, Terry Moore on second base. Miller steps in on the mound. Here's the first pitch. Foul ball back against the screen for strike 1. 1 strike is the count on Pete Coscarart. With 2 down, they'll have Terry Moore down on second base. He was the first man up, walked. Larry French sacrificed him down to second. And then Eddie Miller struck out for the second out. 1 strike on Coscarart. Feller's in there. Here's the next one. Foul and back to the plate for strike 2. 2 strikes. Keeps umpire Basil busy tossing in new balls. 2 strikes, 2 down, and a man on second. Pawing around the dirt in front of the mound for the moment. Steps in on the rubber, getting a signal from Hemsley. 2 strikes is the count on Coscarart. Up goes the arm, takes a glance down at second base. He's all set. Here's the pitch. Ball high. 2 strikes and 1 ball. 2 strikes, 1 ball. In the last half of the 7th inning. 2 away. Getting a signal now from Hemsley. Into his stretch again. And here's the next pitch. Another foul in back of the plate. And the count remains the same. 2 strikes, 1 ball. Neither team has made a fielding bobble in this contest. And the hits are 6 for the National League, 2 for the American League. Appling and Buck Newsom getting the hits for the American Leaguers. He's in on the mound. And here's the next one. Strike 3 called. Coscarart called out on strike. For the third out, retiring the side. The results there in the last half of the 7th inning show no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. And the score now going into the first half of the 8th inning is still 3-0 in favor of the National Leaguers. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.